Welcome to the Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad we're all here together. This is our 250th YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Keith Kavanagh, who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we end at 9:45, 10:45. Over to you, Keith.
Thank you very much, Dan. Lovely to be back amongst you this morning. Let's take some quotes from A Course in Miracles. We'll start with possibly one of my favorite quotes in the course. There's a few contenders for that, but this is right up there. Um, it's from lesson 131. For several minutes, watch your mind and see. Although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. And review the thoughts as well, which are compatible with such a world, and which you think are true. And then let them go and sink below them to the holy place where they can enter not. There is a door beneath them in your mind, which you could not completely lock to hide what lies beyond. Seek for that door and find it, but before you try to open it, remind yourself, no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. And it is this request you make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued now nor sought. Nothing before this door you really want. And only what lies past it do you seek. Put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open with your one intent to go beyond it. Angels light the way so that all darkness vanishes, and you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things you see. A tiny moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in the light reflects the truth you knew and did not quite forget in wandering away in dreams. So our dreams are the thoughts that stand guarding the door to the holy place where they can't enter. And that holy place is God's Son. It's you. But we tend to stay with the thoughts outside the door, misperceiving ourselves as a thought, thinking we think thoughts, that they make a powerful contribution to the truth, that they can help us, that they can tell us who we are and who our brothers are, and they can't. Only when we go beyond thoughts to the truth of what we are can we look out and know it's the same truth of everyone that we look at. Thoughts lie, not the holy place, not the place they cannot violate, not the place they've never soiled. The truth of what you are right now in this moment. Let's take one more quote. This is from chapter 13, and it's section 10, paragraph 9. In shining peace within you is the perfect purity in which you were created. Fear not to look upon the lovely truth in you. Look through the cloud of guilt that dims your vision, and look past darkness to the holy place where you will see the light. The altar to your Father is as pure as he who raised it to himself. So the altar is a symbol in the Course for the mind. So over and over again, the Course tells us you already are as God created you. That's true in this moment. And the only problem we have is identification with the thoughts that are blocking the entrance to the holy place that they can never violate. And so the great promise in our first reading this morning is that no one can fail to know the truth of who they are if they hold that pure intention. And the reason you can't fail is because it's shining in your mind right now. Shining. You can't be anything other than this. We just get distracted by the thoughts, see, and we misperceive what we are. And then misperceived, we think we have to somehow become what we already are. And our only task is discovering, who am I right now? What am I really? And I'd like us to use today's meditation to do this, at which we cannot fail, to discover the holy place where thoughts can enter not right now. So let's do that together. I'm going to lead you into it a little bit, and I will let the lovely Teresa ring her bell. um, yeah, we'll do the meditation now. So if you want to ring your bell and set your timer, Teresa, please. So who you are essentially is already here, inviolable. We never have to go meriting or finding or seeking after our true nature. We're promised over and over again, it's already here. Course tells us there's a place in your mind that remembers perfect peace, and it's already here. You don't find this place in a few years' time. You don't work towards this. All our spiritual work starts with the discovery of our true nature. And that recognition is right now. What you are, your very essence, is freedom itself, and it's always already here. So just relax the focus of attention. Don't attend to any specific object of attention, such as a sound, a thought, a sensation, or feeling. All of these objects of attention that are arising are perfectly fine. Let all things be exactly as they are. None of them need to be resisted or pushed away. All things are included. But just for this moment, allow your attention to be free and open. Fairly quickly, attention will focus on an object, and a lot of the time, it will be a thought that is the object. Thought arises and attention focuses on it. It could also be another object, like a sensation, or a sound, or a feeling. And this is completely fine. It's completely normal. It's completely natural. And there's nothing wrong with this. But just notice when it happens. As soon as you notice that attention has focused on an object, just go back and relax the focus of attention and be this open, objectless awareness. There's no strain or battle in this. We're not pushing anything away or trying to get rid of anything. It's just about turning attention to the truth of what you are. What you are is never absent. It's always here. It's not off in the future or something that has to be sought. It's here now. Just notice that everything is allowed and included here. All the objects of awareness, sensations, sounds, feelings, and thoughts. There's no grievance with anything. And all things are allowed to be exactly as they are. Nothing is excluded. When we focus on one specific object, which is most often a thought, attention gets completely absorbed on that object. The whole world seems to become a thought world. And in that moment, it's as though thoughts are the only thing that exist in all the world. But the thought world is not a real world. It's a made up fantasy world. It's not reality. When thoughts are talking to themselves, that's the unreal world that we are believing in this moment. But it's not reality. It's a fantasy world, what the Course calls a private world. It's not the real world. And it's an exclusive world. It's a separate world. And it's not real. So when attention gets absorbed completely on the object of a thought, everything else is forgotten in favor of this fantasy world. The real world is forgotten for the illusory world of thoughts. When attention focuses on thoughts, it seems to become thoughts. This is not a problem. When you notice this identification with thought, the moment you notice it, you are free of it. Just be here now, open, without any attachment, and free. There's not just the illusory thought world. There's everything else as well. All sensations and sounds, feelings. Everything is included and known. The point of this meditation is to stop identifying exclusively with any one object, including the thought-based object called a self. Just learning to stop attending to any object when you notice the fixation. And in the moment of noticing it, you're free of it. Just know what you are, which is this pure, unfixated knowing or awareness. It is simply the knowledge and experience I am. It is undeniably here, right now. In the past, when we said I am, we meant I am the body and thought. We have been saying I am an object and I am this. All we want to do is investigate what we actually are and discover it right now. The I am that you are is this pure awareness. It's the awareness of all the objects of awareness. It is the knower of everything, including the body and thoughts. I am. It is completely obvious and undeniable. I am. This knowing I am is not an object. It's not a thought, sensation, or feeling. It's not a body. It is pure subject with no object. It is I knowing I. No object. Within this I, this knowing that you are, all objects are appearing, including thoughts, feelings, sensations, the body itself. And this is freedom. Salvation is not in the future. It is now. Freedom is what you are. And what you are is freedom itself. Right now you are free. No thing. There is no past and future here. They're just thoughts. You are this no thing. Objectless subject. I knowing I. Free. This is who I am. And there is only one I am. It's exactly the same for everyone. And that's why the Course tells us our true identity is shared, must be shared. There's only one I am. It's the same everywhere. And it's the truth of what you are right now. And so just let your attention be wide open and free. When you notice that attention has become absorbed in the thought world, the moment you notice it, you're free. You can know I am. When attention goes to another object of awareness, sensation, thought, feeling, most times it's a thought. The moment you notice it, you're free. And you can know I am. You're not fighting with anything. Everything's included. Nothing's excluded. All things are allowed to be exactly as they are. And you can know I am. I knowing I. No objects. In a few moments, I'll leave you to know who you are. Every time you notice attention got absorbed in a thought. over and over again, remembering I am, I knowing I, pure knowing, pure awareness. Each time attention seems to become absorbed in an object, the minute you notice it, you're free. You can know I am. You can know who you are, who everyone really is. Each noticing is a reaffirmation of your freedom that's already here.
Open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 18 minutes left for sharing. If you'd like to share, raise your hand and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Norman, take yourself off mute.
Thank you very much indeed. That was tailor-made for me. I just can't believe it. For quite a while, I was having a vision, if you like, of a young prince locked up in a dungeon I had made. It had a window in it and bars in it, but there was no light coming in. The door was open, but there was light and warmth in the dungeon, and it was coming from the prince because it couldn't have come anywhere else. And I wasn't able to go in even though the door was open, and he wasn't coming out. He even tried putting the hand in and pulling him out, but it didn't work. But that sort of equates totally to the light that is in a symbolic way. And then to lead it from that to I am, beautifully explained. And as I say, I just can hardly believe it. You know, it was as if God had sent you along to straighten me out. So I'm eternally grateful. Thank you very much indeed.
Beautiful, Norman. Beautiful.
Who'd like to share? Ivan, take yourself off mute.
Oh, that was. Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes, I'm from Denmark. I don't speak English very well, but I'll try to tell what I discovered. I did what Keith told me to do, to let things pass, objects pass. And then at the very, very last moment before the bell rang, there was this suddenly intense light right in front of me, sort of light red or colored, and it was an intense peace with that light. It just opened up and got brighter, and I was very calm and peaceful. It was very, very beautiful, and it tangled in some way with my heart. So thank you very much.
Beautiful, Ivan. Um, the Course tells us Jesus, who's the great symbol of the one right mind we all share, says in the Course, you are the light of the world with me.
Yeah.
Now, when we hear that, we think, oh, I, the thinker of these thoughts, I, the separate self, am the light. But actually, there's no separate self. There's just the light. And that's freedom.
Yeah.
See, because when I knows I without objects, there's no character here with a past or future. Those were just thoughts outside the door. See, that was just the thought world, the fantasy world, the make-believe world. But when I knows I, it's the holy place that thoughts can't violate.
Yeah.
Thoughts of separateness and thoughts of self and other and thoughts of wrong and bad. There's no thoughts of past and future. They're just thoughts. And there's just I knowing I. And so we are the light. And the peace that's here is not an emotion. It is the essence of what you are. But it's not just the essence of what you are. It is the essence of what everyone is and the essence of all the universe.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all we ever have to do is notice, oh, these are thoughts, but I am. These are thoughts of I am this and I am that. But I know that I am. And that's freedom.
That's freedom.
That's
Yes.
the holy place within all of us that's shared. The identity that's shared. Everything else is fantasy. It's the thought world. It's nonsense. It's the wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but with no reality whatsoever. It's the raucous shrieking and sick imaginings of the ego thought system, and it doesn't mean anything because I am. And when I knows I, it knows itself as the truth in everyone and everything. Thanks for sharing, Ivan.
You.
Who'd like to share? Jim, take yourself off mute.
I found myself experiencing a few different things. One, my heart seemed to be bursting open. Then there'd be just unimaginable peace. And then my thoughts were going back to last night. I live in an old house in a little intentional community here in New York, and the water shut off. And I was so tense last night dealing with this problem, and I still feel that tenseness mixing in with incredible peace. The problem was solved. It turned out there was a pipe in the oldest part of the house that had frozen and busted open, and all the water was pouring out. So it all worked out fine, but man, oh man, that tension experiencing that frozen pipe, and it affects a bunch of other people that live here. So all these different feelings, at total absolute peace, heart bursting open, and tension of these very real feeling problems that seem to occur all the time.
Beautiful. Beautiful that you recognize the peace that is the essence of what you are, Jim, and the essence of what everyone is. If it's not shared, it's not real. Um, so the Course tells us that the real world is the state of mind where the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness. You see? So the world is going to world, and the ego's pain is going to come up from the unconscious and try to vomit out onto the world. The ego's discomfort, dis-ease, dissatisfaction, it's going to come up and it's going to go, Pipes did that to me. Problem in the apartment, look what it's doing to me. See, that's projection. See, now, the Course isn't saying that you're supposed to stop that. Not at all. The Course is going, this is wonderful. This, the ego's projection, we're going to leverage this for salvation. And all you have to do is let the world, and all all the ego's darkness will come up out of your mind to try and vomit out onto it.
Yeah.
And you are going to resist nothing. You're going to allow all things to be exactly as they are so you can know and experience I am in the midst of the turmoil. And you're going to be very happy to allow all this ego's discomfort to be here. And you're not going to let thoughts spin a narrative that what happened in the apartment is responsible. That is the purpose of the world. That is the reason we appear to be here. We're not really here. That's the reason we appear to be here, is to undo the guilt in the mind. And that'll be the end of the ego, because it needs guilt to have an apparent reality that it doesn't have. And so what that's why the Course says all things work together for good. There are no exceptions except in the ego's judgment. So that problem with the water mains, that was perfect. It was all things working together for good. So a particular batch of the ego's guilt and fear came up in the mind and wanted to vomit out and go, look what the apartment did to me. Look what the problem did to me. See? And the Course is going, this is brilliant. See, look what the ego does. Very clever. But we're going to turn the tables on the ego, because that guilt was in the back of your unconscious and you had no access to it. But because the ego projected it, you now have access to the guilt and fear in your mind, and you can forgive it. In the midst of it, you can know that I am, and you can not allow thoughts their narrative about why it's here. It's here so it can heal. And all you need to do is not oppose it, not fight with it, not believe stories about it. You want to feel the pure emotion of the ego's discontent that's here without any stories about it. And it will heal. And that batch is done. And we're on to the next classroom. Person that bumped into me on the street. The person that tried to rob me. See? These are all things working together for good. Because the only purpose anything has is the emotions that come up and try to blame the world for themselves. And the Holy Spirit's going, just catch it there. Drop the narratives. They're all lies. That's projection. You want this. You want this emotion. You want to feel this without thinking it. And it can be healed. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yes, absolutely. It's beautiful.
Good.
Who would like to share? Jan, take yourself off mute.
Hi, Keith. Hi, everyone. Gosh, I just want to say thank you, Keith. That was so beautiful. Just taking us, giving us that opportunity to go to that place of pure peace. Thank you. And just to say what a lovely taster it is for what is coming up in just over a week's time, is it? Your workshop.
That's right.
Miracle Network. Wow, we actually see you in the flesh. Well, some of us do anyway. So thank you. Thank you. It's always such a joy to receive your work. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Glad it was helpful.
Good.
Who'd like to share? I'll jump in here. Keith, thank you so much for for leading us into meditation. It was my mind is usually very busy. I have thoughts going on all the time, and it it follows me into meditation often. It's but this time I was when I meditated, I just observed them. I said, Dan is having a thought now, and it would just disappear. And
Yeah.
and then the next one would come up and do the same thing, So I was just the observer, and
Yeah.
it was a wonderful meditation for me. So thank you, Keith.
Oh, beautiful, Dan. This isn't about not having thoughts be there. This is about knowing who you are. And each time you notice attention has become completely absorbed in the thought world, each time you notice that, you realize you're the noticer and you're free. So yeah, it's so important that what we fight, we fuel, what we resist persists, and we'll never get anywhere by pushing and pulling on thoughts and pushing and pulling on emotions. But when the fight stops, I am is here to tell me of myself. And really, the course talks about this many ways, forgive, allow, accept, welcome. Some of those are mine. And it seems like you're being told to do something, but actually, they're just ways of trying to get you to stop what you're doing, which is fighting with everything, fighting with your thoughts, fighting with your feelings, trying to shift them around and change them and deny them and project them. And so all the course, the miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops an instant and is still. Why? Because in that instant, all the stories stop. And I know that I am. And that it's the truth of everyone. And that's the miracle. Beautiful, Dan.
Thank you, Keith. We have time for one more share. Who'd like to share? Okay, we'll wind it up there. And thank you, Keith. That was wonderful. And take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Keith.
Thank you so much, Keith. It was amazing.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
got the heart going here.
Great. Thank you, Keith. Good day.